Salutations everyone, and welcome to What Mattered, the show where I tell you what mattered in the news this week. This week was the sequel of bad things getting sequels. Jurassic World has officially announced their sequel, the 5th Five Nights at Freddy's game came out, and Sharknado 4 was announced. Let's be honest guys, the quality really goes down after 3. I mean, come on Hollywood, you got any new ideas? To start off this week, we're going to be talking about EVO 2015. It was last weekend, and I was able to absorb as much as I could of that EVO goodness, mostly Smash Brothers, but I got to see a couple others as well, and I think everyone can agree that was by far the best EVO ever. EVO has gotten better every single year. There wasn't even a Smash player at EVO 3 years ago, and now it was the biggest attendee percentage that was there at EVO. The biggest Melee and the biggest Smash 4 tournament ever. That Killer Instinct final had like one of the biggest comebacks in EVO history. There was the guy that popped off after winning one game and then got immediately destroyed because the game was still going. In the Street Fighter final, it went down to the wire and then the dude's fight stick broke and it was like, oh my gosh, and then he ended up winning anyway. And in Smash 4, Zero went undefeated once again. First time in EVO history that there has been a tournament of more than 3,000 players in which a player didn't drop a game. And Zero broke that record. He's been the most dominant player in any fighting game of the past year. He's undefeated since Smash 4 came out, ever since E3 of last year when it was fully announced and they had that little tournament, and he's won every single tournament that he's been in. He's 43-0, hasn't dropped a set. The guy is just unstoppable right now. That hoo-ha to finish the game, everyone thought it was going to be a Sheik Ditto, but he brought out the Diddy back, even though he's been nerfed twice and he's still won. Props to you, Zero, man. You really deserved it. He did say, however, if he was going to win EVO, then he would dedicate the next year to playing Melee. So we'll see if that actually happens, but it's going to be hard to tear him away from Smash 4 because he's just been so dominant, and it's really the driving force to see who can beat Zero, who can even send him to loser's bracket. So far, nobody, but it's been a hell of a ride. And in Melee, that was incredible. You had Leffen, the favorite, who had won the last 3 tournaments. You had Armada, who was the 1 seed, and then Hungrybox beats Leffen. My boy Hungrybox sends him to loser's bracket, and then Plup, guys, with a Samus beating Leffen's Fox. Holy shit, that was like the craziest thing that happened to me in the tournament. That was so hype, what he was able to do with Samus against Leffen's Fox. That was insane, and he took him out of the tournament. And then in grand finals was the top seed Armada against my boy Hungrybox after he took down Mango to stop the 3-0 from happening, and it was really hard to see how Armada was going to lose this tournament. He really hadn't shown any signs of weakness throughout all of winner's bracket. And I mean, Hungrybox took down Leffen, he took down Mango, had everything going for him, but just Armada had an answer for everything that Hungrybox was able to throw out at him. So unfortunately, my boy didn't win, but second place 2 years in a row, nothing to frown at. He took out the possibility of a 3-0 from Mango, and congrats to Armada, the guy earned it. We all knew that Jurassic World was going to get a sequel. It was planned to be multiple movies before it came out. Chris Pratt was already signed on like as soon as the movie was released, and now it's the 3rd most successful movie of all time. I don't think it's going to be able to catch Titanic, even though it has long-legged dinosaurs. I don't think it has the legs to do that, but 3rd biggest movie of all time. That's obviously, yeah, you're getting a sequel. The boat didn't crash and everyone died in this one. You're gonna get a second movie. So we know that Chris Pratt is coming back, Bryce Dallas Howard is coming back, and we know that the movie will be coming out around the same time of 2018. So we got a few years. Who knows how far in the future like the sequel is going to be set place, because the park failed. What's the sequel going to be about? Well, here is my thought. So, remember the engine scientist guy, how he sent all these things away to the army dude in the helicopter and he flew away, and how the Velociraptors were being field tested to be, you know, soldiers in a way? I think they're going to, you know, follow down that route. The guy who escaped on a helicopter with all the dino their DNA and stuff, they're going to breed more dinosaurs. They're going to try to turn them into soldiers and be sold to the highest bidder. Some bad guys are going to get those dinosaurs. They're going to breed an army of dinosaurs to fight. And how are you going to stop an army of dinosaurs? More dinosaurs. And who's the only one we know that can control dinosaurs very well? It's Chris Pratt. So we send Chris Pratt to, you know, take his ragtag team of dinosaurs to take down, you know, the terrorists' dinosaurs, and then it's just dinosaurs fighting dinosaurs. That's what I think is going to happen. Let me know what you think of the ideas for a sequel is, because they can't do the park route anymore because that's kind of gone down the shitter. And having dinosaurs fighting dinosaurs is kind of the point of these movies now, so that's what I think is going to happen. We got to see the first full trailer of The Good Dinosaur from Pixar, which had a lot of red flags going into this. It was, you know, supposed to come out last year. They did a rewrite and they pushed it to this year. And a lot of people were like, you know, the dinosaurs, you know, I don't know how this is going to work, humans at the same time. Well, we now finally got to see the actual trailer. And while the juxtaposition of having cartoony looking dinosaurs with very realistic environments seems a little bit to handle in contrast with one another, but I think it definitely can work. And what it looks like is it's a boy and his dog movie where you have this dinosaur and this little, you know, caveman human, but the dinosaur is the human and the little boy is the dog. And it's going to be what it looks like right now from that trailer, a lot like the first third of WALL-E, where it was basically no dialogue. And that actually got my hopes up pretty darn high for this film. I personally think WALL-E is the greatest Pixar movie ever made, and if we're going down that route, I am definitely pleased. I wasn't having any idea of like what to expect from this film, and now we have. And instead of people, you know, being down on Pixar, the huge success that Inside Out was, I think, being the most powerful emotional movie that they have made so far. And I think The Good Dinosaur might be able to continue on this manner to show that, yeah, Pixar is definitely back now with these new IPs. Instead of throwing out these crummy Cars and Monsters sequels, you know, new ideas. And I think this one is a pretty good twist on a well-known story in the Pixar vein as well. And I think it definitely can be good if it's what the trailer makes it seem like. And Pixar movies are usually pretty good with that. So the new Five Nights at Freddy's game came out early, which surprised people for some reason, even though the same thing happened with the last one. It was supposed to come out, you know, coincide with the Halloween release, and then it was supposed to coincide with the anniversary of the first game's released, and then it just came out, you know, a couple days ago. And, of course, people, you know, freaked, oh my god, the greatest game of all time, blah, blah, blah. It's the final chapter, supposedly. I don't know why you would have a game that has 5 in the title and not at least have 5 of them, especially when they're as hugely popular as Five Nights at Freddy's. Granted, it's not my kind of game. I've said that before. It's a kid's game, and I understand that. It's all based around not being jump scared is the goal of the entire game. And to me, I don't think it's a good game, and I think it spells bad for the rest of the industry. But it's just not for me. That's all that says. I'm not saying if you like it that you're a terrible person with terrible taste. It's just not for me, and I understand the appeal. We mentioned that there's going to be, you know, a movie made in the works. As right now it's out to the writers, so, you know, we'll see if that picks up steam. But we know this game is going to sell insanely well. Even though it's called the final chapter, let's face it, I don't think this is the last Five Nights at Freddy games. Granted, this one guy that makes this game, I don't think needs to make any more for the rest of his life. I think he's pretty set money-wise, especially with the movie deal and merchandising and all that. Because, like, when I was at Kamikaze last year, there was a lot of Five Nights at Freddy cosplayers, and almost all of them were under the age of 15. So I realized that this isn't for me, but it's still insanely popular, so you kind of have to take notice and pay attention to it. But I don't know, I don't think this is going to be the last one. I honestly haven't played it or paid attention. I don't even watch people that play the game, so I don't know if it sets up for a sequel or with hints or open-ended story. I assume it does, just because that's the kind of game that it is. And, I mean, if a movie comes out, they're definitely going to make another game. And, I mean, if you just want to print money, this is just one of those games that can do that, apparently. Life is Strange's 4th episode comes out next week. It has hit over 1 million in sales throughout the series, and if you guys haven't played Life is Strange, absolutely get it. They're only $5 per episode. If you don't even want to buy it, watch a Let's Play of it. I would recommend Dodgers. I'll leave the link on the screen as well in the description below. It's a fantastic game with an amazing, unique storyline. And it's just, it's so good that I really want it to be made into a movie or a miniseries, because the story is fantastic, the music is really good, and it's just so intriguing, and I would highly recommend it in any capacity. Remember last year when we talked about a possible Space Jam movie with LeBron James? Well, the likelihood of that is further increasing. Warner Brothers announced a partnership with LeBron James ranging from TV to digital media and film, and they also just refiled trademarks for Space Jam. So it definitely looks like it has a high possibility of happening. But I mean, I'm like, am I really gonna watch a second Space Jam movie? I mean, yeah, I am. I'm not even a LeBron James fan. Yeah, I'll watch a Space Jam 2. And now time for quickie news. The Street Fighter V beta was taken off as soon as it went up because of a lot of issues. To compensate that, they're extending the length of the beta. Some people are wondering if like it'll ever really come out at all. Sword Art Online Hallow Fragment will be coming out on August 4th for the PlayStation 4. A remastered version of the PS Vita game, which has better English translation this time around, so Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby owners can now pick up a free Dinosaur. It's just a mystery gift, no codes or visiting GameStops. Free Dinosaur with one of those Dionysite stones. Rumor has it that Zack Snyder's son Eli will be playing Tim Drake in a flashback sequence in the Batman vs. Superman movie. We saw that, you know, Jason Todd is dead. He was killed by the Joker, and he still has his uniform on display in the Batcave, and that says a lot about his character and the development. It looks like Zack Snyder's kid will be playing him in a flashback, according to a source. He's done this plenty of times before. He played little Leonidas, he played little Rorschach, and it wouldn't be a surprise at all, since he's 19 and 6 foot and like a superstar high school quarterback, to play Tim Drake getting killed by the Joker in a flashback sequence. So this kind of spells ill will for Red Hood being a villain in the solo Batman series, which they could have easily set up for if they wanted. It is still possible, but seems less likely now. The director of San Andreas looks to be heading a Rampage adaptation movie, which is interesting. The Rock will be in the lead role once again, as he was in San Andreas. It looks like another one of those shoehorned in. There really isn't a story there, but it's already an established thing, so we don't have to really think of anything new kind of a thing, like they did with the great successes of like Battleship and Pixels. And the official dates for the Black Ops 3 beta were released. PlayStation 4 owners get it for 5 days starting on August 19th, and Xbox One and PC pre-order people will be able to play the beta for 5 days starting on August 26th. So they each get it for 5 days. PlayStation 4 users just get it a few days earlier, but still the same amount of time, and of course you have to pre-order in order to get into said beta. Any Hootie and the Blowfish, that is what mattered this week. If you'd like to know what matters in the future, you can hit the subscribe button. One of these comes out every single Saturday. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave your comments below on any of the stories that I mentioned this week, and I will see you guys next time.